Author, Alexander Beret. Idea, Arthur Curry. Mannequin, or New Itinerary. Yesterday, at the Method of Vomit concert, Artyom met up with their drummer. Sitting in the dressing room with a bottle of beer, he asked him,
"Listen, horse, do you remember the gothic girl I met at your last session? The pretty one. I don't see her anymore. Do you know where she hangs out? Where she could be?"
"Oh, Anya, or whatever her name is,"
said Horse.
"Yes, that's her."
"Oh, so you don't know?"
"No, why? Has something happened?"
"Yes, well, this girl has been gone for 2 weeks. Now they are looking for her, including the cops. They say the last time she's been seen was taking the bus. Since then, she hasn't appeared. Probably dumped in Moscow. She had an argument with her parents and left,"
Horse said, vaguely waving his hand to the side, and left to get a new bottle. Artyom became thoughtful.
"That always happens. I have no luck in life. I've only met a girl and she has already disappeared."
The phone rang. Artyom looked. It was an unknown number.
"Yes, hello?"
he said, leaning back on the sofa. No one answered, only some noise and static.
"I'm fed up with this,"
said Artyom, hiding the phone in his pocket.
"It's already the second time today. It's freaking me out."
He continued. Artyom spent the rest of the evening at a bar pouring out his grief with some draft beer. The next morning, somehow managing to open his eyes and with a huge hangover, he realized he was late again. Without much enthusiasm, he began to gather his things to go to the university. At the bus stop there was no one.
"It's somehow strange for 10 o'clock in the morning,"
thought Artyom, looking around in confusion. There were no buses or trolleys to be seen.
"If I could catch at least a minibus."
He thought and hopelessly reached into his pocket for the coins that remained from last night's wreck. After counting the money and making sure that there should be enough for cigarettes too, Artyom went to the kiosk. Searching for a decent price, he suddenly heard the sound of a vehicle stopping from behind. He turned around sharply, and yes, there was a bus. Artyom fumbled his way to the rear open doors. He had to forget about the cigarettes. Getting to the university was more important. If he missed 2 classes, they'd kick him out and he'd be obliged to sign up to the military. He didn't want to go to the army, which was compulsory in Russia for those who did not enroll. On the way, he thought,
"This is crazy. Where did they find this old-timer?"
The old yellow LIAZ bus reminded him of his childhood, trips to the camp and the strong hands of his father raising him to the very top of the steps. Artyom jumped into the closing doors of the departing bus at the last possible moment. He took a couple of steps and sat down. Of the people on the bus, there were only him and the driver. The mere fact that there were no passengers on such a usually busy route during these hours caused him some surprise, and the music that the driver was listening to at full blast was beyond irritating. As far as Artyom could understand, it was salsa or some sort of Latin music. At the entrance to Krasnoselskaya, a bus stop, the driver roared something into the microphone, sort of like in Spanish, and drove past the stop without even slowing down.
New itinerary? Hopefully semi-direct,"
Artyom thought, closing his eyes for a second because of the irritating noise the driver calls music flying from the speakers.
"The dude forgot to turn off the microphone the rest of the way,"
he thought, plugging his ears with his fingers.
"Well, to hell with him. The important thing is that we get to the university quickly."
Driving along the bridge over the Velit River, Artyom noticed that the fog was rising. Suddenly there was a wall of fog in front of them. Artyom felt a little uneasy. Leaning against the window, he froze, gazing, as the usual view of the bridge and the river just below suddenly transformed into a continuous white veil. The most alarming thing was that the driver did not think to slow down, driving directly into the fog. Artyom sat down clinging to the front seat with both hands in anticipation of a collision at any moment with a car that surely lost its way in this serious broom. The driver added his own voice to the sound of the song. He sang along with all his might.
"This situation is completely out of control,"
thought Artyom. He decided to go to the driver and find out what was happening. With difficulty marching ahead, Artyom discovered a Latino guy behind the wheel.
"Since when did we started hiring foreigners?"
He was surprised.
"Why would they even come here?"
Buenos días, señor. ¿Todo bien?
Good morning, sir. Everything all right? Singing the words, asked the driver.
"What?"
With embarrassment mumbled Artyom. He didn't expect not to be spoken to in Russian.
"What's going on here?"
Getting a bit defensive.
Ya viene su parada.
Your stop is coming, continued the driver, not responding to Artyom's question.
"Slow down please. I have to get out already." Do you understand, amigo? Next stop is mine.
said Artyom.
La próxima.
The next one? asked the driver.
Damn, what's he saying? I don't understand anything.
Said Artyom, hopelessly looking around as if looking to find a translator in an empty vehicle. Meanwhile, the bus stopped and Amigo opened the door.
Aquí tiene su billete. Lo pagará a la vuelta. Y aquí tienes mi tarjeta. Llámeme cuando quiera.
Here's your ticket. You'll pay it on your way back. And here's my card. Call me whenever you want.
Toma, toma, te hará falta.
Take it, you'll need it. Insistently continued the Amigo-friendly winking at Artyom. As he stepped onto the street, Artyom looked up the business card on which was written, Miguel Alvarez, Transportation, and the phone number starting with 08.
Is it a toll-free number?
Surprised Artyom, staring back at the bus hiding in the fog. Artyom was standing in the middle of an empty street with a business card and an unpaid ticket from a strange driver in his hand.
He didn't even take my money for the ride.
He said out loud.
Okay, I need to urgently get to the university. Which block comes after the strength of materials class?
He thought, and with a quick step he headed towards the main building. Passing along the brick wall of the bakery, he was suddenly struck by the absence of the smell of freshly baked bread. During his years of studies, he didn't remember a day without that scent. The fog began to fade. There was not a soul in sight. The building seemed somehow unnaturally gray. It seemed to be morning. It felt as if the evening had already come. So strange. Artyom looked at the phone. It was 10:10 a.m.
Where did all the people go?
He was surprised just looking around. He also noticed that the signs with street names and signposts were somehow blurry, and when he got closer, they became completely indecipherable. Surprised by what was happening around, and building various conflicting ideas in his head, Artyom approached the main building. He quickly ran through the open entrance doors and down the hall to the elevator without seeing a single soul. There were no watchmen on duty, and the elevator did not work. He had to turn to take the stairs.
Maybe while I was riding the bus, they dropped an ERW, enhanced radiation weapon, on the city?
He wondered puzzlingly as he climbed the stairs to the third floor. When he reached the lecture hall, he stopped for a second in front of the door, then knocked twice, and without hesitation opened the door wide. The deserted huge space greeted him indifferently with the backs of empty chairs, which were barely visible in dim light.
What kind of nonsense is happening here?
Shouted Artyom.
Are you all insane, eh? What kind of games are you playing?
He continued to shout. After wandering around the empty corridors, he suddenly thought,
what if it's all because of that bus? Can all this trouble be somehow connected to it?
Artyom fumbled in his pockets and took out the cursed business card.
I need to call that Mexican. I need to find out where he brought me. Have I crossed over to the other side? Jesus, how do I get out now?
He said out loud with complete hopelessness in his voice. Suddenly in the opposite hallway, a shadow flashed by. Without hesitation, Artyom rushed after it. There was no one there and there was only one way out of this part of the hallway, the stairs. Jumping into the flight of stairs and finding no one there, he thought he was going crazy. This put him in a more desperate state.
Hey, you, show yourself. Where are you hiding? Are you responsible for this? Reveal yourself. Who are you?
He shouted in a trembling voice. A response, as is customary in such cases, was not expected. Somewhere above the floor resounded footsteps and then a door slammed. Artyom took off like a bullet to the fourth floor, and with a frenzy, began to pull open all the doors of every room one by one. Everything was empty.
Well, where are you? Come out.
Artyom commanded loudly, bursting into the last lecture room of that floor. He searched the whole room inch by inch, but no luck. The shadow he chased seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Artyom wandered back down the hall with his hands down. Suddenly a thought occurred to him. He took out his mobile phone, flipped through the incoming call list. He found an unknown number that tried calling him various times throughout the week and dialed it. As soon as the call went through, somewhere behind the door in the depth of the corridor, a phone rang faintly and there was someone on the other end of the line.
Hello? Artyom? You could have called me? I was already losing hope. Save me!
The crying female voice painfully reminded him of someone. Artyom looked at the screen of the phone. It read, Anna, Goth. Without understanding what was happening, Artyom walked in the direction of the sound, trying to make the least noise possible.
Anya, is that you?
He asked quietly.
Where are you now?
I'm at your university, on the 4th floor, barricaded in some lab. Someone is chasing me.
Okay, what color is the door?
Well, gray, like the others in the hallway.
Anya, I think it was me who was chasing you.
said Artyom, coming close to the lab where she was hiding.
Don't be afraid, I'm going to open the door now.
He said and tried to go in, but the door did not move. A weak sob came from the phone.
It's okay, open up. It's me.
From behind the door came the sound of Anna's voice.
Is it really you?
Yes, it's me, Artyom. Open the door.
How do I know it's not some sort of psychopath?
What kind of psychopath? There is no one here at all.
He answered with annoyance. There was silence.
Well, if you want, ask me a question only I would know.
He continued condescendingly.
What is the name of the drummer of Method of Vomit? His nickname, to be more precise.
Came a voice from behind the door.
They call him Horse.
The sound of moving furniture came from the lab. After a moment, the handle jerked and the door gave inward. In the middle of the room, filled with cardboard boxes, curled up in a guarded position holding a dagger in her right hand high above her head, was Anna, goth, in a full combat outfit. Dressed in black from head to toe, she reminded Artyom of a character from a famous comic strip. Artyom found this scene very touching. And the longer he looked at Anushka, who was frozen in a battle stance, ready to annihilate the psychopath at any second, the more he liked her. Even the veil, which completely covered the face of the goth girl, could not conceal the beauty of her refined features.
It's really me,
he said in a trusting tone, slowly coming close to the desperate girl. A second later, the dagger fell out of her hand and Anna threw herself into Artyom's open arms. After the passion settled down, Artyom asked a question.
Listen, what is happening here? How did you get here? And what does this all mean?
I don't know. I just got on the first bus I saw, and he brought me here.
Was the driver Mexican?
Yes, some sort of strange Latino guy.
And what was strange?
Well, he blasted music, winked at me all the way, and just before leaving he gave me his business card and said, "Take it, beautiful. It will come in handy."
Wait, did he speak Russian to you?
Not at all. He spoke to me in Spanish. It seemed so strange to me.
Do you know Spanish?
Spanish was an elective course after English at the university.
Ah, so you study at the University of Foreign Languages?
Yes. Didn't I tell you? It's true. We don't know each other for long.
She said, embarrassingly looking down at her feet.
Yes, we didn't have much time to communicate at the gig.
Artyom summed up with understanding.
We are lucky to have at least exchanged phone numbers.
He continued with a smile.
Listen, what is this place? What thoughts do you have?
He asked, switching to the priority at hand.
In general, everything seemed so strange to me. I have seen no one since this morning.
Said Anna.
Since this morning?
Asked Artyom.
And before that, where have you been?
Nowhere. In the morning, at 7:30 as I left the house, I took the bus and came directly here. For the past 2 hours I'd been wandering around. Now this will count as another absence.
She answered bitterly.
Absence.
He smiled.
Did you look at the date and time on your phone? What does it say?
Anya took out a mobile phone from her purse and looked at it with confusion and extended it to Artyom. The display clearly showed the time and date, 10:45 a.m., February 28th. Artyom was confused. Without taking his eyes off the screen of her phone, he went and grabbed out his own from the inside of his pocket. After checking several times, he handed his mobile phone to Anya. His phone showed the same time, but the date was March 14th. Comparing both mobiles, Anya uttered with surprise.
Is your phone broken and ahead in time, or did you just change the date? This is a joke, right?
Artyom hesitated.
No, Anya, this is not a joke at all. It's not the time for jokes. You have been missing for 2 weeks. The police has been looking for you and you say that you left the house 2 hours ago? How can that be? Did you take something?
No, I don't do drugs, for your information.
She said and offendedly turned away. He mumbled.
This means that time passes more slowly here.
How is that possible?
She asked, confused.
You just got sucked into a space-time loop.
Wait, Artyom.
Interrupted Anya.
You mean we got sucked into a space-time loop?
Oh.
He continued.
So it turns out that now we have entered into the loop of the space-time continuum.
So we're in the other world?
She exclaimed almost with joy. She had often imagined of something similar her entire life. Something only a goth could dream of. Outraged by her assumption, Artyom replied.
No, not at all. I hope that this is just a parallel universe from which we can get out of. I have no desire to stay here. Since from the other world no one has returned, let's assume that we are in a temporary paradox that will end soon. Or which we can get out from.
Okay, well, let's hope so.
Anya agreed.
Listen, one more question. Is it you called me recently from an unknown number?
Yes, it was me. But I called you from my phone. I didn't block my number or anything. I called so many times, but you didn't hear me. I shouted, Artyom, Artyom, save me! And you said, hello, hello! And either you were hanging up the phone, or you were swearing.
Anya said with annoyance.
And I thought someone was playing around.
Artyom replied thoughtfully.
So it's still possible to call from up here.
He added slowly, pondering. Anya silently nodded, not really understanding what he was getting at, and then with a shrug began to rummage in her purse. Artyom raised a dagger from the floor and began to examine it carefully.
It's beautiful. Where did you get it?
That is not a toy. Give it to me.
Anya quickly grabbed the dagger by the handle, gently but persistently pulled it towards her.
First, tell me why you carry steel weapons with you. Don't tell me you picked it up here.
Artyom said without releasing the blade.
Well, Artyom, give it back. It's mine.
Moaned Anya.
It can only be in my hands. Otherwise.
Otherwise what?
Playfully investigated, Artyom intercepted Anya's hand.
Otherwise, it can lose power.
Anna pledged.
So it turns out that you are a conjurer.
He said with a sneer and began to circle the goth girl in the rhythm of a waltz. Anna resisted as best she could, but in the end both fell on boxes stacked against a wall.
Artyom, I think I know why I am here. And maybe why you are too.
Anya said in a serious tone, sprawled across the cardboard boxes.
So tell me.
Artyom said enthusiastically.
Tell me you won't be angry.
Clarified Anya.
I'll try.
He assured.
In short, I did a ritual. I wanted to charm you.
She blurted out whimpering. Artyom asked with surprise.
What's the point? Our relationship was going well. I liked you.
Well, I just wanted to try to make sure. To see what happens.
So, are you happy with the result?
Artyom said maliciously.
Well, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure what would happen.
Okay, stop whining. We'll come up with something and get out.
Artyom took out the driver's business card and handed it to Anya.
Look, did the driver give you the same card?
Probably. I don't know. As soon as I got out at the bus stop, I threw everything away.
I see,
said Artyom and got the phone. Then he dialed Alvarez's number and handed it to Anna.
Come on, speak.
What should I tell him?
Well, say that you're sorry and that you made a mistake. That you will never do this again.
Are you kidding me?
Sniffed Anya.
Ask him how to get out of here. Ask for help.
Having resigned herself to fate, she picked up the phone and spoke as soon as she had someone on the line. By how fluidly she was speaking, Artyom realized how fluent her Spanish was. At one point, she asked him to get a pen and a notebook out of her purse. Then she quickly began to write and draw some sort of diagram. The conversation lasted quite a long time. Eventually, she began to wrap up and said goodbye. Thanking Miguel, she returned the phone to Artyom.
So?
With hope in his voice, he asked her.
What did he say to you? What do we have to do?
Anya told to him everything Alvarez said in detail. With each new piece of information given by Anya, Artyom's face changed with a noticeable progression.
Yeah, so we're stuck,
he said at the end of her story. There was silence in the lab after the eternal conversation with Alvarez. Without saying a word, they sat looking into each other's eyes. According to the driver Miguel, whom interpreted the events via his cultural heritage, Anya got here because of her actions. It was because of an incorrect ritual she had executed. She was lured here to Zybalba, the first circle of hell, by the god of death and the lord of the underworld, Puch, whom physically resides even lower at the 9th level. He was trying to get Anya down to where he was by starting at the top circle and slowly bringing her down. His strength was not strong enough to pull her all the way down, and he could not go up because it was not his territory, but while Anya was there, she was in danger. The longer she stayed, the less chances she had to return to the real world.
Well, then how did I get here?
Artyom asked reasonably.
I don't know.
Anya replied.
Some kind of forces must have been involved. I called you and thought about you all the time. Probably a connection was established, and you were allowed to come to my rescue.
So it seems I am still part of your unsuccessful ritual. I'm sure this also played a role.
Anushka with tears in her eyes took his hands.
Forgive me, Artyom. I didn't want to get you into this mess. I myself did not know that I would be in such a terrible situation, and that I would drag you into it too.
Trying to defuse the situation, Artyom asked.
Did you try to call your parents?
No, why worry them in vain? Us, If they find out about what I did, they will not be happy. I didn't even know that 2 weeks had passed. As far as I'm concerned, I've only been here for 2 hours.
Artem said with a sad smile.
Well, nothing can be done, we'll get out.
He continued to reassure her. From what she jotted down while on the phone with Alvarez plus the esoteric book she always carried with her, they planned their escape. In order to prepare them for this magical ritual, they cleared the center of the university's largest auditorium from chairs and other furniture, randomly moving the furniture to the side. They then separated the tasks. Anushka stayed to prepare the ceremony, and Artyom, with a list of things necessary for the ritual, went to the city to find them. Not even an hour later, he had returned to the main building with a female mannequin under his arm, which he had pulled out of the department store he'd broken into by breaking the shop window with a brick. With a bag in his left hand, topped with clothes and other necessary items such as sneakers, taken from the same store, and a canister of gasoline in his right. As Miguel had suggested earlier, Artyom went and picked up the canister at the concrete bus stop near the bakery. The evening promised to be a hot one. Upon returning to the room, Artyom found Anushka kneeling on the floor drawing a huge pentagram. He was amazed at how detailed all the drawings were. Anya used the entire collection of crayons available in the department. Some characters were red and even lilac, and the letters, probably from different alphabets, also differed in color. Hebrew, white, the Nordic runes and Egyptian hieroglyphs, blue. In a few words, not a pentagram, but a work of art.
It's impossible to take eyes off it,
thought Artyom looking at Anushka, who was crawling on the painted wooden floor with satanic symbols, and a bundle of multicolored crayons in her hands.
How cool, right?
She asked happily, looking up.
Absolutely. Bravo. Bravo, mademoiselle. I was unaware of your hidden talents.
Artyom answered gallantly.
There are plenty of talents you are unaware of, monsieur.
Anna looked playfully after having purposely taken a pause. Flattered by her words, Artyom took a step towards her, unknowingly entering the drawing on the floor.
Non,
she said, letting a French accent slip in a warning tone, pulling out a hand and dagger of nowhere.
Not so fast, sir. Deign to retreat. Otherwise it may be that there will be no one to save me today.
She turned to Artem in a haughty tone, whom was taken aback. And having waited until he took a step back, she laughed merrily, throwing at him the remnants of chalk. Everything was ready for the ritual. Anna stood in the center of the pentagram, illuminated by a row of lit canisters filled with gasoline, placed on the 5 points of the star. She held a book in her left hand and a dagger in her right hand. Artyom, holding the mannequin, was just a few feet away from the pentagram, in a circle specifically drawn for him. The circle was also in the perimeter, surrounded by smaller lit canisters, and was connected by a drawn pathway to the main pentagram. There was also a bag filled with belongings and clothes. The ritual to save Anya from falling into hell and to restore her right to leave Zybalba had commenced. Opening her magic book, Anna began to cast spells in a monotone voice. Artyom looked with interest at the flashing lights that dimmed depending on the intonation of Anya's voice. He definitely liked this part. He recognized it from favorite movies he has seen many times. The pentagram was surrounded by 3 protective rings. The first inner ring was a trap so that the entity that has arisen there or that has been penetrated there could not leave the limits of the magic symbol. The middle ring protected the place from the outside world, so that no external force could penetrate the perimeter. The third ring worked as a disguise. By activating it last, Anya set secrecy mode. That is, everything that happened in the magic perimeter, from this moment on, became invisible to any evil spirits, no matter from which department of hell it was delegated.
Artem, get ready. You'll soon have to exit with the mannequin.
Anushka announced in a cold voice. Then she began to read the spell, erasing the old ones and putting new symbols on the floor at the intersection of the main pentagram with the pathway leading to the Artyom circle. Then, standing on one knee, she made several cutting movements in the form of the letter X and stuck the dagger there at the entrance.
Artyom, I have opened the passageway. You can carry out the mannequin now. Just don't rush, please. Make sure to stay within the lines.
Artyom, pressing the mannequin to his side, moved out of the circle with a wary step. As he approached the main pentagram through the painted passageway, Artyom clearly observed an increase in contrast in the details of the world around him, and already at the entrance to the pentagram itself, lifting his head, he saw the stars.
Place it here and return to your circle. Just walk backwards. Do not turn your head. Look at me and follow the lines on the floor. Got it?
Artyom silently nodded, placed the mannequin on the correct symbol and reversed. As soon as Artyom was in his circle, Anechka closed the passageway by performing the same movements in the opposite order. Standing on the other side of the mannequin in the center of the pentagram, Anna prepared herself for the second part of the ritual. Between her and the mannequin was the book, lying on the floor, spread out on the correct page. Holding a dagger like a brush, Anya began to trace all the features on the face of the mannequin that she has previously drawn in, chanting in the Sumerian language. Anna began to achieve Yerushdor, an old Sumerian rite for the relocation of souls. She was aware that the ceremony works only for living people, but this is how it worked there, in our real world. Based on the conclusions of several successfully carried out magical manipulations, here, in Zybalba, she was sure that it could also work with an inanimate object. She felt that the power of her magic in this dimension had doubled, if not tripled. Continuing to utter the spells without stopping, and from time to time glancing into the book, Anya began to take her clothes off and specifically dressed the mannequin, just as if it were herself. While taking everything off, she cast one spell, and while putting it on a mannequin, she cast another. For Artyom, this quickly became his favorite part. As Anya undressed, he gradually began to forget where he was and what was happening to him. A striptease from the girl he liked, lit by open fire and occurring in another dimension, just made his day.
Is it possible to take a picture here?
Artyom asked himself.
Without flash, of course it's possible.
He mentally answered himself and took out his phone. Of the clothes remaining on Anya, only a veil and a pendant around her neck was left. The show went on. Taking a dagger in her hand, she sharply thrust it into the index finger of her right hand. Blood flowed in abundance. She then slowly raised her hand to the mannequin's forehead and carved out her initials, a V, with the bleeding finger. Without interrupting the ritual for a second, Anushka took off her pendant, a pentagram, which had served her well for many years, and put it on the mannequin's neck. Then she pulled the black veil off her face and during the last line of the Sumerian spells, hoisted it onto the head of her unfortunate counterpart. At the end of the ceremony, Anna, bending over the book, tore out a page from it and folded it 3 times and hid it into the pocket of her jacket, flaunted already on the new mistress.
Listen, Artyom. I didn't tell you everything from my conversation with Alvarez,
said the girl in a soft and guilty voice.
Okay, tell me, it's okay.
Anticipating the worst, he replied with a shiver.
The fact is that Puch, the lord of the 9th circle of hell, according to Miguel, lured me here not only because I conducted ceremonies.
Why else?
Artyom asked modestly, expecting the worst.
You see, he needed me as a high priestess. As a wife.
What for? What is the point, after all?
Artyom wanted to add more, but did not have time. Anya interrupted him.
The fact is that, according to the laws, only a virgin can claim to be the main priestess.
And you are?
Artyom said with bulging eyes.
And I am a virgin.
Without undue modesty, Anya replied, the contender for the role of the future wife of this demon. Artyom, with his mouth open, stared at the naked virgin standing in the center of the pentagram with his head up proudly. In a state of shock, he was unable to comment.
Hey Artyom, wake up!
Anya said, swaying the dagger from side to side, as if checking for a concussion.
I'm not going to give up. Hello? Look at me. Don't close your eyes.
What do you mean? I'm fine.
Artyom said offendedly.
Artyom.
Anya addressed him, looking straight into his eyes.
Do you love me?
There was silence.
Just be honest, I beg of you.
She continued in a quivering voice.
No need to get so worked up, Anya,
he said to her.
Of course I like you, probably even love.
Anya lifted up her watering eyes and her chin started to tremble.
Yes, I love you. Love, did you hear?
He shouted.
Just relax and cut it out. This is not the time or place.
Undress.
Anya responded quietly. Artyom's eyes were getting bigger than before.
I don't understand,
he said, tight-lipped and caught off guard.
Artyom, it's simple. Do I have to spell it out for you?
Anya began.
Pooch wants to get Anya the virgin. And if Anya is not a virgin, she is no longer needed. So how do we solve this?
Well, it means that someone must strip you of your innocence.
Heavy pondering, answered he.
It has to be you,
Anushka said calmly, having sustained another pause. After such a turn of events, Artyom took heart, and from the side it was visible that his face turned red with a sudden rush of blood.
What about the mannequin?
He asked, nodding in the direction of Anechka's double, dressed in all her fancy clothes.
We will deal with it later. Come here. Let's quickly get this virginity deal over and done with. I'll open the portal to the pathway.
Anushka fumbled, moving the book to another place, and again began to draw the characters that allow passage from Artyom's circle. As soon as the dagger was stuck at the base of the pentagram again, holding the invisible door ajar, stepping carefully, Artyom proceeded into the arms of Anya. All his clothes remained in a protective circle behind him. As soon as he was in the center, Anya quickly made all the commands to block the portal, read spells one after the other, put the mannequin in a horizontal position in the spot that had been reserved for it, took Artyom by the hand and looked at him in the eyes again. Enchanted not so much with her gaze as with her body and the events taking place, Artyom no longer cared about his actions. In front of his gaze, he saw nothing but a priestess of love, carrying him by the hand to the very center of the pentagram. Voluntarily surrendering to the mercy of madness and beauty exhibited in his passion, he unintentionally discovered that he was pressing against the most beautiful girl in the universe, and their setting was a star crashing into space with its 5 limbs, just like Anna, who had widely spread her arms and legs strictly in accordance to the rays of the 5-pointed star. Throughout the act, Anushka did not stop casting spells, meanwhile holding the mannequin by the hand. Artyom was struck by her courage. Just before the crucial moment, they heard an oncoming buzz which made the whole room vibrate. At the same time, the space around them and above them began to close in on them rapidly. The ceiling and walls suddenly moved in on them but froze just a few feet away, stopped by a magical protection. But attempts to crush a young couple who dared to indulge in lust against their plans continued. Apparently Pooch felt even through the thickness of the defense that something was wrong with his chosen one. But despite of all attempts to hinder the process, Artyom and Anya continued the procedure of disobedience. The improvised lamps flashed and went out at once to the beat of their movements with ever greater force, illuminating the room with diabolical drawings. Loud moans were heard from all sides. Sometimes they lined up in a hellish choir and tried to accompany the priestess and her partner held on in each other's arms. After the deed was done, Anna, leaving Artyom for a while to rest, began to reinforce produced ritual. Changing the direction of several symbols on the floor in the lower left ray, she cut her forefinger with her dagger of her left hand now. Looking in the mirror lying here on the floor, she put a ritual pattern on her face in the form of strips with, not virgin, but devirginized blood. That was her trick. She entered the magical perimeter as a girl, and would leave as a woman, handing over her virginity to a mannequin, a double, which she had planned to slip to Pooch instead of herself. After the ritual, the demon would simply not be able to determine which one of them was the new Anna and would slip out of his claws with freedom.
Let him take her to the 9th level. Let him rejoice in his old age.
Mentally admiring her genius, insidious plan, she pictured the unenviable fate of the mannequin.
Artyom, get ready. As soon as I remove the protection, we will go to your circle. We will be protected there,
said Anya. Artyom nodded silently while sitting on the floor, still in a euphoric state of mind and body from the events that had just taken place. Meanwhile, Anya was in the process of unprotecting. Changing the direction of the arrows using the chalk, she stuck the dagger into the outer ring. Then she went counterclockwise without picking up the blade from the floor in a circle drawn in chalk. Thus, the perimeter again became visible to otherworldly forces. Then she did the same with the second round, but this time by holding hands with Artyom. The magic perimeter was now open to penetration from the outside. Very quickly they left the pentagram, moving into a small circle that remained closed to external forces. Already inside, Anya erased the pathway to the circle through which they had entered. Tightly closing the invisible door behind them with a spell and a dagger, they both began to dress. Artyom in his own belongings, and Anya in new ones brought by him from the department store on the previous day. Anya, forgetting all responsibility in the moment, went deep into the search of something suitable for her. She began rummaging in the bag, taking out the antiquated pieces. Some leotards, a ridiculous raincoat.
Artyom, where did you dig all of this up from?
She poked clothes in his face.
There was nothing normal at all? How will I go dressed like this?
Artyom, waiting for his turn, dug into the bag with his hand.
Wow, look, here are some jeans. Put them on,
he said, pulling to Anya his precious find. She immediately slipped into the jeans, and as she zipped up, she started twisting around, as if it was in front of a mirror in the dressing room.
Well, at least something pleased her,
thought Artyom, looking at Anushka. Quickly putting sneakers on her bare feet, Anya grabbed a dark blue puffy jacket and without hesitation put it on her bare body. There was also a gray cloak, but turning and glancing around at its style, Anya unwittingly threw it aside with the words,
This is for pensioners. A good gift for Ah Pooch.
Right away, Artyom pulled her sleeve with horror, pointing at the mannequin who had begun to move in the pentagram.
It worked.
Anushka exclaimed with delight.
Look, she looks like me.
Artyom looked up at Anechka and the mannequin with great surprise. The female mannequin he brought from the window of a department store took life. With mixed feelings, he watched the figure slowly rising from the floor dressed in all black. Straightening to his full height, the mannequin began to rotate her head around, apparently in search of fugitives. Artyom watched Anna's double, unable to look away.
Do not look into her eyes.
Anya shouted, but it was too late. The pair of pupils staring at Artyom from under her veil had completely paralyzed his will.
Artem,
Said the mannequin, hesitantly.
I'm here, save me.
She continued with Anya's voice. Shielding Artem from the effects of her twin, Anya began to cast spells and draw magic runes with a dagger in the air.
Artem, it's me, you're Anna. Come to me.
Continued the double, throwing off the veil from her face, revealing her immaculately clean face with clearly pronounced cheekbones. Even Anya was amazed by the power of the beauty of her twin.
Come to me, stay with me.
The new Anna continued to appeal to him. With a limp, Artyom tried to get up, but Anya did not let him. She turned the mannequin's gaze upon herself and began to speak to her in Sumerian language. Distracting the dummy's attention, Anya suddenly realized that when they ran away from the pentagram, she forgot her book there. She looked into the center of the star and she saw it lying there on the floor. Her twin caught her gaze and found the book too.
The book.
Anya exhaled out loud.
What happened?
Artem asked, waking up from the infatuation in a sleepy voice.
I forgot the book there.
She said, barely heard. He looked around at the entire perimeter and, disconnected, again. Anya frightenedly looked at her counterpart, who began turning over the pages. Then, apparently finding the right one, she began to read by syllables. Anya recognized the text from the chapter which influences men.
Oh no no no.
She thought.
Now she'll put him in a trance and make him do whatever she wants.
In the meantime, Anna's doppelganger uttered the text from the book, alternating it with phrases aimed at Artyom to seduce him. Once she began flaunting her legs, Artyom finally lost his mind and made an attempt to take off his clothes. Bending over Artyom's face and asking him to plug his ears, Anya began to fumble through his pockets in search of his phone. At the same time, she incessantly uttered prayers and spells. Having fished it out, she promptly dialed Alvarez, and as soon as he answered, she explained the situation to him. Then she put the phone on speaker and turned it in the direction of the pentagram, where the former mannequin was located. Illuminated by the dim light of the dimming lamps, the room's walls suddenly trembled from the resounding voice of Miguel, which penetrated the building from every direction. Alvarez spoke in some foreign Indian-sounding language. These were most likely spells, since it was obviously affecting her twin. The dummy began to rush to the sides while bumping into an invisible barrier. The first protective circle acted as a protective force to prevent evil spirits from coming out. The double tried to shout down Alvarez, turning from soft female tones to rough male screams. Continuing to draw the figures with the dagger in the air, Anya applied all her strength to combine them with the power of Alvarez's spells, so they both managed to hold on the diabolical attack together. Suddenly, deformities began to appear on the face of the double, and all its former beauty was gradually replaced by the protruding skull bones.
Artem, Alvarez said that these are signs of Ah Pooch himself. Apparently he's trying to dwell in her. We need to do something.
Miguel continued to cast ancient Indian spells in a monotonous voice. Anna's doppelganger restored her charming features again. She stood in the center of the pentagram gasping for air.
Help me.
She screamed, with Anna's voice. For a second, Anya and Artem thought that there was just an innocent girl in front of them calling for help. Her gaze seemed pure and immaculate. By the horror in her eyes, it was obvious the amount of suffering she had received in the last few minutes.
Save me from him. I don't want go to hell.
The otherworldly Anna screamed, falling to her knees. One can even say a sense of pity overcame Artem and Anya. Artyom, because he almost managed to fall in love with her. Even more than with Anya. And Anechka was also overwhelmed with a feeling of guilt. It was difficult for her to take a piece of herself like this, tear it off, and throw it away to be devoured by demons into a fiery hell. So they stood embracing each other, overwhelmed by their conflicting feelings, looking at the sobbing double.
Artem, Take the canister and throw it into the center of the pentagram.
Anya translated Alvarez's instructions into Russian.
Faster!
While Artem, taken aback, looked at Anushka, who read out the act, the mannequin rushed at them. But hitting the invisible walls of their protective circle, she flew back.
The inner circle of the star has stopped being effective.
Anya stated in awe. While the infernal twin came to life, she tried to temporarily restore the internal barrier. When the demon with the new forces tried breaking through, the temporary protection rose and worked as an elastic shield, throwing it with all its might into the center of the pentagram, where Anya 2.0 crashed heavily on the floor and froze without moving. During the confrontation of Anna 1.0 with Anna 2.0, Artyom had left in search of a canister of gasoline and was temporarily out of sight. When he returned to the circle carrying the precious fuel, Anya had already recovered and was packing her bag with the necessary things for the road. Tightly stuffing the throat of the canister with the sleeve of a woman's blouse, Artyom set fire to it from the other end. A few seconds later, the burning canister fell as it should have, in the very center of the pentagram. He ignited the perimeter which moments ago was protecting them. Spreading along the rays of the pentagram, the burning gasoline began to absorb with its flame all the good and bad things the fugitives left behind them in this world. Pushing through the thick blanket of fog, Artem and Anya went towards the bus stop. Already crouching to catch their breath on the bench, they heard howls and shouts from the university. Although the fire from there was not visible due to the thick fog, the roar from the flames and flying glass could be heard well. Artyom rubbed his hands with pleasure, picturing the size of the damage they had inflicted. Anya looked at him with a reproach and asked,
"Why are you so happy?"
We won.
He smiled radiantly. Alvarez's yellow Leos flew out of the fog at full speed and came to a stop with a skid which stopped right at their feet. Through the open door thundered the already familiar song to everyone.
Devórame otra vez.
Anya and Artyom were overwhelmed by his sudden appearance and rushed to embrace each other.
Venga, venga, súbanse, no hay tiempo.
Alvarez shouted from the cabin. A quick glance at the couple, Miguel pointed to Artyom and said,
Tú pasa primero.
Come in first.
Anya translated. Artyom hesitated a bit, but entered. This time, Miguel looked quite different. On top of tattoos in the form of incomprehensible symbols, which were not there last time, his face was painted with Indians' combat coloring and his head was decorated with a black baseball cap with an embroidered gold letter, M. In general, it seemed to Artyom that Alvarez was somehow now strongly tanned. He has become bronzed in the full sense of the word.
Amigo must have gone from here to Cancun to relax in the time we were gone.
He thought. Miguel winked conspiratorially at Artyom as if he read his mind and said,
Dame tu ticket.
Anya, what does he want?
Artem turned to her.
He asks for your ticket.
Answered Anya, immediately catching herself. Artyom took out from the inner pocket of his jacket the ticket Alvarez had issued him the first time. He held it out and presented it. The driver, winking contentedly, nodded his head in the direction of the seats, which meant, pass. Next up was Anechka, and she did not have a ticket, as she had thrown it out along with Alvarez's business card earlier.
Búscalo, search.
Miguel ordered irritably.
Artem, we have to go to that stop to look for my ticket in the trash. Otherwise, he will not take me out of here.
What? What do you mean he won't take you out of here? That's insane.
Artem exclaimed, leaving the salon. Seeing Alvarez's facial expression, Artem realized that the situation wasn't to be resolved by a demonstration of power, and with his head down he headed for the exit. Amigo handed him a pair of gloves.
What is this for?
He asked.
Miguel said that you can't put your bare hands in there.
Anechka's voice came from the street.
He also says that I should not crawl into the trash.
Added the same angelic voice. Quickly putting his gloves on, Artem ran to the opposite stop, which was about 150 meters away. Anya ran after him, not lagging behind.
Well, in which of them is it in?
Asked Artyom with his hands on his hips, looking at the two trash cans standing at different ends of the stop.
In this one,
said Anya with uncertainty, pointing at the nearest bin. Artyom put both hands in there and laid out the contents on the ground. Anya rushed to the heap, but Artyom coolly pushed her away and dismantled the garbage himself. He found Anechka's ticket and Alvarez's business card among some scraps of newspaper and a Science and Life magazine dating back to 1979. They scurried to the bus, encouraged by eerie screams coming from the withering main building. The most resonant among them was the clearly pronounced voice of a demon yelling,
I will find you.
Having settled down more comfortably in the far back seats of the bus, they rode silently holding hands. Fog clouds outside the window cast sleep on the weary travelers. Awakened with drowsiness, Anya raised her head to see where they were by. Out of the corner of her eye, she noticed that Artyom was looking at something on his phone. She was curious and grabbed his hand to unfold the phone out to her. They were pictures, the photos from their ritual. Artyom was looking at the ones in which she was captured in the nude.
Are you crazy? How could you? I risked my life in there for you and you took pictures of me.
Anya rushed at Artyom, hitting him. Artyom with a laugh dodged and strove to kiss her on the lips. Once everything had settled down, he reached into his bag with his hand and took out a black-bound book. He put it on the empty seat, just opposite of Anna. Anya at that moment looked out of the window at her hometown where they had just entered from the other side of the bridge. The mist-covered Velvet River had been left behind.